we'll do it in a minute.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. I'm Roberta Milstein, speaking for myself. So I was the person who emailed, or at least one of them. So I have 5 concerns with the recommendation, and I'd like to see you address all of them. First, the Rainey report makes clear there's 3 options for updating the EIR: an addendum, a supplement, and a subsequent EIR. And they explain why an addendum isn't sufficient, but they don't explain why a supplement is sufficient, and they don't explain why we don't need a subsequent EIR. So I think the Council has to insist on hearing the justification for choosing a supplemental EIR over the subsequent EIR, which is more extensive. Second point is that Rainey only mentions traffic as a potentially changed factor since 2016. It doesn't mention other potentially changed factors like air quality, noise, biological features. I think Council needs to insist that all potentially changed environmental factors are going to be considered so that EIR is complete. Third, staff recommendation mentions an addendum to the EIR. I found that confusing because supposedly they're not asking to do an addendum, so that needs to be clarified. Fourth, Rainey's timeline does not allocate time for commissions to comment on the EIR. The Council needs to insist that there be time in the timeline allocated for this, and should make sure that each of the relevant commissions has the opportunity to bring their expertise to bear on the EIR. The developer, not the city, put this project on hold, and they've had plenty of time to bring the project back. There's no justification for rushing things now. Fifth, there's nothing in the timeline about a public scoping period, and there should be a public scoping period, and there should be a public scoping meeting on the updated EIR. This ARC would be a massive project, much larger in scale than anything else in Davis, on prime farmland, 200 acres, and it deserves to be dealt with thoughtfully. I urge the Council to address the 5 concerns I've outlined here. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening, Colin Walsh, and I'd like to follow up on Ms. Milstein's concerns. It appears there are both major changes to the project and major changes to the circumstances, both of them, with new potential significant impacts that require additional environmental review above and beyond the EIR prepared in approximately 2017. This may even meet the criteria for performing a subsequent or new EIR. It probably meets the criteria for performing a subsequent new EIR. Rather than jumping to the conclusion that just a supplemental EIR is appropriate, we request that the city or its consultants prepare and circulate a clear new project description. The current project description is very vague, to the old one, and a checklist that documents all aspects of the project that have changed or not changed and the significance of those changes. We also want to see the same analysis for the changes in circumstances, such as the traffic on Mace Boulevard or the recently declared climate emergency. The Council should be insisting on this from the staff as a starting point. That would be a good thing to do tonight. We would like the new project description and checklist to be circulated along with a recommendation based on the results of the checklist that explains why a supplemental or subsequent EIR is appropriate under CEQA Guidelines Section 15162. We would like these documents to be publicly noticed and placed on the regular, not some little after the fact pulled from consent, but on the regular agenda. So the public and Council is given the opportunity to understand that what exactly is the new project, along with potential impacts, and to comment on the appropriate type of updated CEQA review. We request this occur before the consultants proceed with the new EIR document. Finally, we believe that the city should prepare a NOPE and in good faith follow all public notice and comment requirements of the Public Resource Code and CEQA Guidelines, sections 15162, 15163, 15072, 15087, etc. Currently, it seems like perhaps you're not.
If you could wrap up in the next
We
5
also
seconds.
request that the city view the statutory and regulatory requirements as a floor, and that the city should provide more robust opportunities for public review and comment as appropriate and requested. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for comment on? Welcome.
Me again. Pam Gannell. I'll be very brief. I read the staff report, and just it's unclear to me the rationale for a supplemental versus a subsequent EIR. The staff report did mention the change in traffic patterns, and that is a potentially significant impact that wasn't addressed in 2017. But I'm also concerned about the housing type, because I know the vertical mixed use was considered, but I thought at this point there was now consideration of going forward with some single-family housing, and so I would like to see that discussed. Thank you.
Thank you.